Good day, my fellow Nigerians. In this conversation, we're going to talk about the second factor that we need to put in place as a nation for us to grow. Like in the first conversation, we talked about the three. I mentioned that we're going to look at the three factors. First, we talked about leadership or visionary leadership. Now, in that conversation, we saw that everybody can become a leader because leaders are not born, they are made. So we all have the responsibility to become leaders. And it's only when we become good leaders that we can transform our nation into what we envisage it to be. So this is the second part where we're going to look at what I call individual character development or individual character integrity. Individual character integrity and socio-cultural integration. Now, bear with me, I'm going to explain. What do I mean by individual character? The word individual is a psychological word that has to do with what is called individuation. And what is individuation? Individuation is the process of becoming whole because as humans, we all have different functions working within us. That is, when I say different function or different forces, we have our minds, we have our hearts, we have our stomach, like some people, stomach infrastructure that matters to them. We have our stomach and we have the underground in between our legs. Some people, their whole life revolves around what happens or what they feel in between their legs. If it's a man, every woman on skirt is in trouble. And if it's a woman, every man is in trouble too because he go snatch your husband will give you money again. Now money then go to give her. So we all have different functions or different forces fighting for dominance within us. And our ability to understand these forces, know them, and put them under our control. Putting them under our control is aimed at discovering ourselves. That is, understanding ourselves, knowing ourselves for who we truly are, and discovering that kernel or what I call kernel of power. Kernel of power within us means that particular thing that you are called to function in with super efficiency. That thing that you're supposed to excel in. That gift, that talent, that capability that makes you great, that makes you better than every other person in it. It could be something that you never learned, but you're able to just do it. So, one of our major responsibilities as human beings or as individuals is to discover this thing and walk in the path of that greatness. Because when you walk in the path of that greatness, your light begins to shine. Your light shines into society and it gives people a reason to live a better life. So, self-knowledge is aimed at becoming a servant leader, where by function of who you are, society becomes a better place. Because there's a saying that I think there's a quote by Francis Bacon or something. He said, educated men must be more than textbooks. They must see themselves as an integral part of the society they belong to, hence contribute to its advancement. So, one of the reasons we gain knowledge about ourselves is to understand who we are so that we can play a participatory or influential role in advancing society from where it is to where we want it to be. We all have a good aspiration for Nigeria. I believe we all do, irrespective of how we behave and irrespective of how some of us may utter the pessimistic word that nothing good can come out of Nigeria. But in our heart of hearts, we still believe, we still think, we still want things to be better. So, one of the aims of acquiring knowledge is that we contribute to that society that we're in, the well-being of that society. So, if you as an individual can understand the forces within you, your brain, your head, or the CPU, central processing unit, your heart, and so many other factors. There are so many of them. I just call these four, but there are plenty, okay? So if you can understand these things and manage them properly, that is the process of becoming an individual. That's the process of becoming an individual. So psychologically, until you're able to walk on this path of self-growth, you're not yet an individual. But let me not go there. That's a little bit deep. So let's just leave it at saying that when you master yourself, its primary aim is to build your character. Now, we all have heard that saying that man know thyself. Man know thyself is very important because when you don't know the use of a thing, misuse is inevitable. You will misuse it. It's just like sometimes you don't have to plan to fail. You just have to not plan to succeed. And if you don't plan to succeed, automatically you will fail. There is no winch there. There is no village people there. If you don't plan to succeed, you will fail. So also it is, if you don't know yourself, you will misuse yourself. You will do the things you're not supposed to do. You will live the life you're not supposed to live. You will cause extensive damage to yourself and to the environment that you're living in. Because when you know yourself, you'll be able to lead a better life. You'll be able to integrate, or you'll be able to socialize with people at a higher level. After all, the same man is a social animal. Social here does not imply communication or just discussion or discussing. No. Social implies benefiting society from the wealth of your abundance, from who you are. What do I mean? A farmer goes to farm and makes food. He sells it in the market. You go and buy it. A doctor is a doctor. He treats you. A mechanic is a mechanic. Without mechanics, the world will ground because you won't even be able to go to work. Nobody will travel to another country because who will walk the ship, or who will walk the aeroplane, or who will walk the car that will drive you? So socialization at its secondary level has to do with blessing your society from the abundance of who you are, from the wealth of your knowledge, from the wealth of your capability, from the wealth of what you can become. That's what makes us a social being, and that's what makes life better for us. So I'll start by reading out something here. It says, I'm trying for us to see the importance of self-knowledge. There's a quote here. It's a bit long anyway. It says, the ancient who wish to manifest their clear character to the world will first bring their state to order. Those who wish to bring their state to order will first regulate their families. Those who wish to regulate their families will first cultivate their personal life. Those who wish to cultivate their personal life will first of all rectify their mind. Those who wish to rectify their mind will first of all make their will sincere. Those who wish to make their will sincere will first extend their knowledge. Then, when knowledge is extended, the will is made sincere. When the will is made sincere, the mind is rectified. When the mind is rectified, the personal life will be cultivated. I want us to note this, personal life, because that's the emphasis of integrity and character development. Personal life. The personal life will be cultivated. When the personal life is cultivated, the family will be regulated. Now, I'm going to give us a story. I had this dangerous combination of lifestyle in the past. Now, I call it a dangerous combination because when I sit down and look at that past and I wonder, oh boy, how were you able to pull out this? How were you able to live like this? And Honestly, I can't wrap my head around how I did it. Now, in the past, I had these two policies. If I get to the road, I don't wait for cars to stop moving before I cross. So if I'm coming out from a street, the moment I get to the road, I cross. And I've learned how to cross in between cars. So the road can be a very busy road, cars going left, right, and center, and I will still cross. As at then, this was not an issue to me. In fact, if you're a driver, because sometimes some people will cause you thunder fire, you know me go kill you, you go die for motor accident. Was my own. In my mind, I'm like, these people, you don't know how to drive. Otherwise, why won't somebody cross in between you? In fact, there was one day I came down from a taxi. As I came down, I opened the door. It was the door on the other side of the road. So there was a car coming from the opposite direction. It was a woman that was driving. As I opened the door and came down, so I saw her car coming. I just saw that it's a woman. So I didn't want to cross so that she would not start shouting, Jesus, 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 even though her car was very far. So I stood by this taxi. The taxi now moved. After the taxi moved, from where I was standing to her car when she passed was over 5 feet. And from her car to the end of the road was over 10 feet. In fact, another car can fit in by her side. But still, she just shouted, Jesus, Jesus, and dabbed the brake. So when she saw that she was very far from me, she now pressed her throttle again. Then I think she said, God punish you or something like that. She said, no be me go kill you. And I was looking at her, I'm like, you're a learner. Now, it wasn't a problem to me that I was crossing the road like a madman. Now, second to this, if I'm walking on the road, let's say I'm walking on the road, even if it's a major road, not like I came out from a street. If I'm walking, at any point in time that I decide to cross, bam, I'll cross. Because I know how to cross in between cars. I don't wait for cars to finish. I never wait. As soon as I make that decision, bam, I'll turn like a robot and cross. That was being very impulsive. Now, this made me, if I'm walking with somebody on the road and it gets to when we'll cross, I don't cross with you, no matter who you are. Once it gets to where I want us to cross, I'll just tell you, let us cross. Then I'll shift away from you and cross my own. Then find your way and come and meet me on the other side of the road. It doesn't matter who I do it to everybody. Even if we're coming out from the streets, as soon as you get to the junction, I'll tell you, let's cross. Then I'll shift and cross and let you cross. Now, but I made some observations, but it didn't make meaning to me. That observation was, naturally, people get scared when they get to the road and want to cross. I don't know what gave us that human instinct that makes us all afraid. Even if you see a couple, husband and wife, crossing the road, once they get to where they are supposed to cross, the wife will instinctively hold the husband, like he's my safety, or he's my safety belt or something. He's my protector. Now, when a woman does that, it shows you that at that point in time, she feels vulnerable. So she wants to hold on to some source of security. Now, if people are walking, maybe siblings or friends, once they get to the road, the eldest one will always hold all the rest. That's because there is danger. So, I didn't translate it to mean that crossing the road is a dangerous act. I just said, like, okay, normal, it's a normal thing, no problem. Now, there was even an experience I had. Okay, that was the first experience that taught me that this method is not the right one. Though sometimes if I'm crossing with people, once I leave them and cross, when they cross and come to the other side of the road, they'll be like, why you leave me now? I'll be like, Sabi cross road. Don't you know how to cross? Because sometimes if I'm crossing with people, when I do that my method, they'll be shouting, oh, leave me. Or they'll be like, wait now, Memo to fin, wait now, wait now. And I'm like, why should I, how long will I wait here? Till all these cars, till the cars finish passing and the road is clear, that's when you cross. So that means if cars are passing, wait here for 5 minutes. I don't have that time. I'm a fast-paced person. So it made me I don't cross road with people. Find your way. Sometimes people say, oh boy, they cross road roughly. Now, there was a day a friend of mine asked me, because he was working a very tight schedule. So I was less busy within that period. He now said, okay, I want to register a company. You and my friend, my girl, go to corporate affairs at Transamadi. Find out the requirements for registering a company and all that and all that. It's okay. So we left my place because she actually came to our place. He's my neighbor. From there, we left. We had to cross the road because Arumokuta will cross the road. Arumola. No, we didn't cross the road at Arumola, but when we got to Garrison, we crossed the road. Now, I was using my method. The moment to get to the road, I just cross and then I'll stand and be looking at her. She will cross. So all the times we cross the road, going and coming, after crossing, I'll wait for her. I don't hurry her. She will cross. So we came back home. Later, my friend came in the evening. She gave him situation reports and everything, our results, what they told us in corporate affairs. So while my friend was talking to me, I think the next day, he now mentioned it that I was just crossing the road without carrying her. What? That was when it dawned on me that, what? Now, what happened to my mind was, that means you did not show her care. Her boyfriend, your friend, left her in your care, and you left her for danger to kill her. I didn't say anything. I just kept quiet. He didn't flog the issue. He didn't take the issue too serious. He just mentioned it, and within me, I just said, "Oh God, you are fucked up." Now, a few years later, there was this our family friend who used to come to the house most of the time, almost every day. When he comes, I normally escort him to the road. I escort him to the road. Sometimes I cross with him and escort him far again to where he will enter his own street. I discovered something. Whenever I will get to the road, the moment I want to cross, he doesn't say don't cross. He'll just be like, this is how he would do. He'll be like, and I respected him because he had gone to the rig. He had worked in the rig. So I knew he had gone through a lot of safety trainings. I hadn't gone to the rig then. So I saw him like my superior when it comes to safety and security. So whenever he does that, even though we're all friends, we're all age mates, I'll just wait. Then maybe when the cars are less, and he must make sure that we'll run. Even if the road is free, we'll run and cross the road. I'll be like, why should I be running for car? The car will not jam me now, so I cannot. But we did this thing continuously. At least every week I escorted him 2 or 3 times. We did this thing for over 2 years. And somehow, I found out that whenever I want to cross the road again, I'll wait. Maybe in my mind, I'll say, okay, that 6th car or the 8th car or the 10th car, the distance between that one and the other one is very fast. So once this 8th car pass, I'll cross. So I started waiting. And in a space of about, say, 10 years now, this is 2025, let's say 10 years. When I look back at my life, sometimes I ask myself, how were you able? Because I come to discover that sometimes, even if I want to cross the road, somehow I become scared, like, okay, let me not use the word scared, but I become overcautious. Like, as if a car is going to hit me. So I've done it repeatedly that to a point that when I look back, I ask myself, how were you able to pull out this lifestyle? This has baffled my mind because a few times I've tried to cross like that, but it doesn't work. Now I'll give us another story. When I was in school, I had this roommate. One day, I went back to school. As I came back to school after holiday, he was in school because their own school did not give them break, or they had gone for their break or something like that. So when I came back, while I was in the room, a lot of my neighbors were in the room. We were over 6 that day in the room. So someone said he needed paper. I should give him paper. He wanted to write down something. I just took the paper, kept it. I just took the paper, kept it on my table, put the ruler to it, and tore it with speed. I just thought, whoop. Then my roommate now said, "Do you still tear paper like this?" Now, I didn't really say anything, but I read in between the lines, "Do you still" means that you have been doing it. And it also means that it is wrong. So I just laughed over it. I gave Henry the paper and Henry went away. But within me, I now knew that. So this method with which I tear paper is not the right method. That means there's a need for change. I started thinking. That was when I started learning how to tear paper gently. Even though till today, that hasn't fully changed, because if I'm alone and I want to tear, I still use that speed. Though, if someone asks me for paper or something in the midst of people, even if that person is there, you ask me for, I'll take it gently. I'll tear it gently. Most times, where I tear my papers out, let me show you something. Oh, where is this? Where I tear my papers, like if this is the paper, I'll make sure the two edges are touching, because I handle paper with serious respect. Because as a writer, paper is like one of my tools, because at a point in my life, I everywhere you see me, I have paper and pencil, because the inspiration can come anytime and I start writing. So a paper is like a sacred tool to me. And from my childhood days, you can't fold money and give to my dad. If you try that, happy to you. If you want to give my dad money, if you want to fold it, the maximum you fold it should be once. Not you fold, and it's like somebody will all rumple. The worst of all that will happen to you is that you rumple money anyhow and give it to my dad. That day, that your head, when he finishes talking to you, you will understand. So that made me, I also cherish papers, or I don't rumple things. If you give me a paper, I can usually hold it for a couple of times, and you come back to search for that paper 1 week, 1 month, 2 months after then, it's still very neat. I'll give it to you like that. If I have to hold a piece of paper, maybe I went to photocopy something, or I went somewhere, I got a paper that I couldn't put in a book. What I do is I will fold it like this into two and hold it here, so the paper doesn't get rumpled or something. Then, whenever you want, I give it to you back. So, as a result of that, when I want to tear papers, I make sure these two edges are touching. These two are touching. Then I straighten it. Then I tear gently. If I'm not using a ruler, I tear very gently so it is straight, because the paper has to be straight. Now, I want us to look at ourselves, Nigeria, as a nation, because the ability for us to recognize that the method that we're doing things, the method we're using to do things is not the best, is a mark of leadership. is a mark of leadership, because for us to rectify our minds, because that's what we need to rectify our minds. Yes, we need to rectify our mind. For us to rectify that mind, we have to look at ourselves objectively. We have to sit back and assume that it is not us that is involved. I'm analyzing somebody, I'm analyzing the situation, I'm analyzing something. And look at it from that objective perspective, where we begin to understand the mess that we have made out of ourselves. That is knowledge. Because for you to be able to manage yourself properly, you need to have knowledge. And that knowledge is knowledge of yourself. Now, let's not forget that what we're talking about here, or where we're aiming at, is integrity. I said personal or individual character integrity. Now, what is integrity? Because integrity is one of the steps, is the first step on the ladder through which we use in building our nation. Integrity, like I explained in the beginning, is like a process of individuation. But integrity here has to do with you being able to integrate basically the two sides of your brain, your head, the right and the left side of your brain. Integrate them to become whole as a human. Because the right side has to do with imagination, things like that, thinking, creative thinking, intuition, while the left side has to do with logic, mathematics, analysis. So most men are left-brained and most women are right-brained. Now, this is just a kind of general idea. Now, you have some men that are, or most men are 70% male and 30% female, while most women are 70% female and 30% male. Now, I'm not saying we have male features, no. We use 30% of the brain and 70% of this side, or 70% of this side, 30% of this side. That's why men are more logical and women are more emotional. Now, integrity has to do with integrating this aspect of you so that you become whole, just as you manage the different functions within you. You integrate these two aspects of you so that you can maximize your potential. Because maximization of your potential is recognizing who you are and functioning in that capacity of who you are. Now, the important thing in this integrity is that when you understand who you are, what you're capable of, you begin to live a better life. Let's take, for instance, woman that they pass you, anything on skirts. But suddenly you come to realize the mess that you are making out of yourself. You now decide that I'm not going to chase women again. So you concentrate on building you, which you can do from certain principles that you will learn. Now, integrity at this level is not what society expects of you or what society knows about you, because society doesn't even know that you have made the decision to stop chasing women, or to stop drinking, or to stop smoking, or to stop whatever nasty thing you're doing. Society doesn't know about it. Integrity here has to do with you living the highest standard of morality or value or principle that you can attain. So, we all as individuals and as a nation need to start living from this highest point of ourselves, this highest point of our capabilities. When you start living at this point, then you get to the second level of integrity, which is taking yourself from where you are to where you want to become. That is, how do I put this now? Moving yourself from who you are right now to who you want to become in the future. That's integrating yourself to your future. Now, this enables you to be able to socialize properly with everybody. Now, when I talk about socialization, I'm coming from a conceptual perspective. Now, man is a social animal. Yes, we all know that. But what is social? Social doesn't necessarily mean just basic interaction. Social involves interacting with people from the best of our abilities. Just like a farmer who farms and you eat. He has interacted with you, because if he did not farm, you will not eat. Now, integrity has to do with integrating with people, because the word integrity comes from a Greek word integer. An integer, from our basic mathematics, integers are numbers that can be merged with other numbers. Sociocultural integration is the next level or the next step in our walk to nationhood. Why? Now, if you look at Nigeria, everywhere you go, there's tribalism, fanaticism, religious bigotry. People are so stiff-necked, stubborn. They disagree with everybody who doesn't agree with their way. Even we hate other people's culture, their way of life, everything about them. And these are not important things that should matter. You see somebody speaking his language and it offends you. What is wrong with you? What concerns you with this language? Somebody is dancing their traditional dance and you are getting angry. Or you say no sabi dance. Who told you doesn't know? What is dance? Is there anywhere in the world, is it in the Bible, in the Quran, in the whatever book, that if you want to dance, you must dance like this? This is the one that God likes. There's nowhere. So we need to come above all of these irrelevant things that are bringing division amongst us. Because truthfully, we are so fragmented in our thoughts, in our speech, in our actions. But like I said, knowledge is the key that we can use to transcend or overcome most of these challenges. Because there's this quote I used to see on social media where it said that because a lot of people are not at peace with themselves, they cannot give peace to the world. So that's where I fall back to the integration. When you integrate yourself, you're able to create peace within you. You're able to create harmony within you. You're able to create understanding within you. You now see yourself as somebody who has strength, who has weakness, who has failings, who has a vision that he's working towards. Now, when you see yourself from that perspective, you begin to see other people like these people are like me. They also have their weakness. They also have their battles. They also have their traumas. They have everything that I have. And I don't even know where the shoe pains them. So let me not use my sansan to pour inside their gari. Now, at a cultural level, everybody grew up in a different background. You could even have two people that grew up in the same family with two different understandings about life. So we need to accept each other because we are all on the path of growth. We want to grow. We want to make ourselves become better human beings. So sociocultural integration has to do with mastering ourselves and integrating to other people. I know some of us will say, we're different tribes, blah. Look, let me tell you something. The difference in tribe is not the reason why we're having all the katakata we're having. Rather, I will say that it's because of the darkness of our mind, because of how crude, ignorant, and bigoted or fanatical we are. Because I find it difficult to understand how in the 21st century somebody is still so fanatical that every other person from every tribe is a devil to him. Even people in the same religion. Go to your place of worship. you will find that there are a lot of people who are using the same holy script with you, but have diametrically opposed ideas on everything. And if you start up a conversation with them or an argument with them, if you start today, you won't finish in the next 1 year. Why? Why? So it is not about just the two religions we have in Nigeria. It's about the wickedness of our hearts. It's about the fact that a lot of us have internal turmoil that we're not yet ready to even look into. Because we believe we know it all. That's why we have these cliches that, are you a learner? Because we're not supposed to learn. Even though the Bible tells us that a wise man makes learning his preoccupation. But are you a learner? Which means we use it in a derogatory form. That means you're not supposed to learn anything because you know everything. Now, when you're tribalistic, it shows that you, in fact, for me, it's not an abusive word, but it shows that you're a savage. Why do I say savagery? Now, I find it difficult accepting the fact that one nation 200 and something years ago had gone past somewhere when there were no electricity, there was no computer, there was no knowledge spread all around. These people were able to think out something and build their nation. Now we have another group of people 250 years after then. I know some people say, don't compare us to America. No. Why won't I compare? I will compare. Now, 250 years afterwards, somebody somewhere else has not even arrived at the mental attitude that somebody arrived at 250 years ago. I don't know if I'm painting a picture. Because as it stands, now, in America, every president who comes reiterate that thing. They say, don't think of what America will do for you. Think of what you can do for America. This is because these people have integrated. The tribe is not the reason for difference. Because America is tribeless. America is careless. America lives anyhow kind of life. You can wake up in the morning, you live your life the way you want. If your neighbor knocks on your door, you call police for him. Anyhow, it's your own. But they still have that capacity to integrate. And when you talk about how many tribes do you have do you have up to 1,000 tribes in Nigeria? If you go to America, how many tribes are there? Because America is built by people all over the world. After Christopher Columbus discovered America, people from Europe trooped into America. The indigenous America currently are less than 5% of the population of America. You have Europeans all over the whole place. And you have people from all over the world. You have China, you have Japan, you have Russia, everywhere. You now have slaves from Africa that were later brought to America. So when you talk about tribe, how many tribes would you say that are in America? There's a book I read about American history that said in a distance of about 50 miles, you can have up to 300 tribes speaking languages that are as different as Chinese is from English. I'm talking about the Native Americans. Yes, okay, those guys were very barbaric then, they were very brutal. But they were able to coexist somehow. So today, America is a great nation because America has gone beyond tribalism. They have mastered the act of leadership and they are building their nation. But here we have everybody wanting to jack back to America. And yet we are behaving like people who, I don't know. And people who say, as for a food, fish will see in new water. We behave anyhow. So I think we need to look beyond this personal self, or me, myself, and I, and understand that the next man standing by your side is a Nigerian. And he desires the best for Nigeria, just as you desire the best for Nigeria. Yes, you desire the best for Nigeria because you desire the best for yourself. Even though a lot of us may be doing it the wrong way, by wuru life and looting. So, Nigeria is a great nation. I believe so. because there are good people within us. There are great minds amongst us, and we can build our nation. So let's go back to the analysis. Integrity. You come into yourself and integrate the different faculties within you. The second level, you take yourself to who you want to become. The third level, you integrate yourself to other people. It could be your place of work, it could be your place of schooling, it could be your religious institution, it could be anything. It could be your street where you live, it could be the house where you live, it could be the compound where you live, it could be the street where you're living. Your ability to integrate with people without condemning them, without seeing devil in them, without seeing negativity in them, is what makes you a matured individual, or is what makes you a person of character, with a man of integrity, or a person of integrity. This is where Nigeria needs to learn. Now, integrity is a very wide area of conversation. I've got to make a lot of videos on this, but for now, let's take it that this is an introduction into the second stage, or the second level, or the second principle that we need to apply as a nation. Now, in our first conversation, I talked about visionary leadership, and where I mentioned that leadership has to do with auto leadership, SOC leadership. What is SOC leadership? SOC leadership is the leadership of what you do to your environment, your society, or how you influence your society. That is SOC leadership. SOC coming from social leadership. And that's what we've just outlined here. Now, social leadership sometimes is unconscious. Like maybe when we're kids, we're playing. For men, the strongest amongst us becomes the leader of the pack, the undisputed leader, until maybe one day somebody will beat him, and then that one becomes the new leader. So there's a social influence that everybody has on the environment. That is SOC leadership. And this is where we have to consciously build as a nation our societal leadership. Now, this is not the leadership of, say, offices. I'm a politician, I am a government man, I am working in social company, I am a big boy. No. It's the leadership of where the way you walk on the streets, the way you talk to people, the way you respond to people, the way you carry yourself, everything here comes together, adds up to that leadership. When a society manages herself properly, life becomes great for the individuals within the society. Because every system is made up of people, and it is people that build systems. There is no country on earth that has been built by God. No. God did not come down from heaven. Adam wouldn't give Eve. Eve messed Adam up brutally, and we're suffering it till today. So God does not intervene in any country. You must take the bull by the horn. We Nigerians must take the bull by the horn and do what is right. If we do what is right socially, we'll live a better life. Because when everybody in the society is living at a socially accepted level, or at a socially accepted norm, where we're guided by moral principles, values, ideal values, time-tested principles that will add greatness to our nation will change. Nigeria can change. We can change, yes. And don't tell me Nigeria cannot change, or you cannot change Nigeria. It is a lie, because even by your inaptitude, or even by your inaction, you're changing Nigeria. By the things you don't do, you are changing Nigeria. You are changing it for the bad. Because if it's just like you're walking on the road and you see a bully bullying a child, maybe that bully is in primary 4, the other one is in primary 1. The primary 4 is bullying the primary 1, and you say it doesn't concern me, you just walk away. Fine, you walk away and you keep quiet. That bully may recruit a group and it becomes a cult. And tomorrow, even your own child is not safe. So, by keeping quiet to that bully, you have emboldened him to go more. And you have worsened the society. You may think you're a good man, but you're not a good man. Because you're not a good man until you are until you are tempted to be bad and you still decide to be good. That's when you know that you are good. It's just like you preach forgiveness. If you're preaching forgiveness and nobody offends you, my dear, you don't know what is forgiveness. The day you know forgiveness is the day somebody will offend you. And you have to forgive the person. In some cases, somebody will offend you and does not even believe that he has offended you. But you have to forgive that person. That is true forgiveness. So, we, at a social level, we have to transform our nation. We have to consciously take the bull by the horn and begin to take steps that will rectify our minds, correct our lifestyle, and begin to live a cultivated personal life. Because when we cultivate our lives, we cultivate the society. And just like a block and a building, the block in the building, that's how each of us is a block in the building called Nigeria. And if we begin to behave aright, it will spill over into the nation. Because like Jack Ma said, it is the success of the people that spills into the success of the nation. The nation does not become successful before our people begins to become successful. No, it doesn't work like that. So when the people in the nation are behaving with wuru-wuru lifestyle, mago, it won't work. So we all have a responsibility to Nigeria to live at a social level, to live a refined life at a social level. This is a tall task, yes. But if we work on ourselves, if we work on becoming better than who we are today, we can achieve it. It's possible. I believe it's supremely possible, because nothing is impossible to those who believe in God. One with God is majority. Is majority because the storms outside is not as great as the fire within you. No matter how rough and tumble the world is, we can always triumph. After all, the same wind in the ocean that sinks ships is the same wind that, sailors, I don't know what they call that, bowling or whatever. That kind of ship that has a lot of umbrella, whatever that stands there, you control it, move the gears and all that. And the ship begins to sail with that same thing, with that wind. But that's the same wind that capsizes a lot of ships. So it's just to learn how to navigate the waters of life. Because it is not life that makes man great. It is man that makes the way great. It is man that makes life great. In fact, it's our supreme responsibility, because thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Who is on earth? Who is in heaven? God is in heaven. Human being is on earth. So it is our responsibility to build the earth to become like heaven. Irrespective of your religion, irrespective of your practice, whether you're not even religious, if on a village juju they worship, that's on your head. But what we're talking about is Nigeria and how we all have the responsibility of transforming it. I need you to believe in it. And I need you to lead your life from the perspective of integrity, where you begin to examine all your actions. Are they in line with what I have set, the target I've set for myself? This thing that I'm doing, am I behaving like that man that crosses the road anyhow? Are you behaving like me? If you're behaving like me in the past, fine, it's okay. Understand, recognize that your behavior is wrong. There is a need for change, and the change starts with you. There is no change that can start by one group condemning the other group, or one say, like everybody says, is the politician and keep Nigeria like this. In keep Nigeria like this, then you there. What are you doing? We all are responsible for the woes that we're facing in Nigeria, and it is our responsibility to build it. We can. I still believe we can, irrespective of whatever we think. We can do it. So let us take the bull by the horn. Let us rise. Arise, O compatriots. Arise from your sleep. Arise from your slumber. Arise from that limiting factor that is preventing you from working on yourself. Arise and make Nigeria great. Yes, I say it. Arise and make Nigeria great. Arise and make Nigeria great. Be that cardinal pillar that will transform Nigeria. I believe in you. I believe in you. And I need you to believe in yourself. Thank you.